the USB left at the DMZ, and the mysterious shadow on South Korean servers. It was 2 a.m. The monitors at South Korea's National Intelligence Service Cyber Control Center started turning red all at once. The night shift staff's fingers flew across their keyboards. This kind of alarm only happened once or twice a year, if that. "Sir, you need to see this." The young analyst's voice trembled. What appeared on the screen was a special encryption pattern, used only on North Korea's internal network, but now it was showing up on South Korean servers. It was impossible. "Can we trace it?" "No, sir. The origin keeps changing. It's like someone's deliberately leaving traces." That's when it happened. An urgent call came in from the Ministry of Defense, Integrated Defense Headquarters. Their thermal sensors near the DMZ had detected human movement. A young man appeared on the screen. Blood was flowing from his shoulder, staggering but desperately running toward the fence, and he kept repeating the same words. "This encryption, my father created it. Please hide me. Please hide me." A small USB drive fell from the young man's pocket. Gunshots echoed from the north. The young man collapsed, but his hand still reached toward the USB. NIS agents rushed to evacuate him. They recovered the USB. Nobody knew. Nobody knew that inside that tiny storage device was an encryption that would shake the entire Korean peninsula. Ji Hyuk was 12 years old. It was the national programming competition held in Pyongyang. The Pyongyang Youth Award ceremony. Ji Hyuk solved all the problems in just 3 hours. The judges looked at him in disbelief. This child is a genius. He must be selected as a national talent immediately. But Ji Hyuk's father, Han Ji Hyuk, was anxious. His father was also a math genius, working in the encryption algorithm design team under the State Security Department. Father knew all too well that the more talented you were, the more dangerous it became. "Ji Hyuk, don't stand out too much. You need to live quietly." It was father's warning. But it was already too late. Ji Hyuk's name was at the very top of the state Security's talent selection list. A year later, Ji Hyuk was assigned to Cyber Unit 121. He was 13. While other kids were playing soccer at school, Ji Hyuk was solving codes in an underground office. Father became even more cautious. His algorithms were being suspected of having traces of foreign technology. It was a ridiculous reason. But in the north, such suspicion was enough. One night, father came into Ji Hyuk's room. His face was pale. His hands were shaking. "Ji Hyuk." Father's voice dropped low. "What I created is a key to reveal the truth. Never throw it away. Understand?" Ji Hyuk couldn't understand what he meant. But father's eyes were different than usual. They were the eyes of someone saying goodbye. 3 days later, father was arrested on charges of treason against the state, and he never came back. Ji Hyuk was 22. That day was like any other. He came home at 5 a.m. after finishing night duty at Unit 121, but something was wrong. The house was too quiet. "Mother, Jia," no answer. Ji Hyuk's heart started racing. He opened the bedroom door. It was empty. The closet, the drawers, everything was there. But the people were gone. They'd been deported or taken to a camp. The stigma of being a traitor's family hadn't been erased even after 10 years. Ji Hyuk's knees buckled. He leaned against the wall and slumped down. He thought of his 16-year-old sister Jia, the girl who loved to draw, the girl whose eyes curved like crescents when she smiled. That's when he saw it. In one corner of Jia's room, a single drawing lay there. All the other drawings had been taken, but this one was left behind. Ji Hyuk picked up the drawing. His hands trembled. In the drawing were 2 large buildings. Electric fences surrounded the buildings. And next to the buildings, very small, was a number, 53. Ji Hyuk realized this was marking a camp location. It was a clue Jia had deliberately left behind. It was the last hope. From that night on, Ji Hyuk changed. He started illegally accessing Unit 121's internal systems. He searched for family information, but all records had been deleted. Deleted records. Ji Hyuk knew what that meant. It meant they weren't alive. Rage welled up inside him. Guilt flooded in at the same time. Self-blame for not being capable. Enough for being too weak, for failing to protect his family. That night, Ji Hyuk doubted the system for the first time. Is this really right? Why do we have to live like this? 3 months passed. Ji Hyuk worked like an empty shell, killing his emotions, erasing his thoughts, just doing what he was told. But deep in his heart, he was making plans. Plans to escape. It was 2 p.m. one afternoon. He was on duty. Suddenly, an internal message notification popped up on Ji Hyuk's computer. There was no sender. That was impossible. The moment he saw the file name, Ji Hyuk's breath stopped. Ji Hyuk, this is the last code I left behind. It was Father. A message from Father who'd been dead for 10 years. His hands trembled. He opened the file. The screen filled with encrypted text. Complex formulas and symbols lined up. But only one line was in plain text. The truth is not in the north, but in the south. Ji Hyuk's heart pounded like it would burst. The moment he tried to capture the screen, the file started deleting itself. It was disappearing in real time. Ji Hyuk moved quickly. He saved the encryption to memory. He erased the file traces. He looked around. The other agents didn't seem to notice anything. But it was certain. Someone was helping Ji Hyuk. Was it Father's colleague or someone else? It didn't matter. Ji Hyuk decided that night. He would escape with this encryption. He would go south. He would find the truth. He had nothing left to lose anyway. His family was gone, his father was dead. And Ji Hyuk himself would meet the same fate someday. Then there was only one choice. Run! Survive. 2 weeks later, Ji Hyuk had planted an access control error in Unit 121's internal system. It created a window where his movements wouldn't be recorded, though brief. He slipped out through that gap. He hid himself on a freight train heading to the Chinese border. It was dark and narrow, hard to breathe, but he had to endure it. The train stopped. It was an inspection. Ji Hyuk held his breath. Footsteps approached. The cargo door opened. Anyone in here? It was a state security agent's voice. Flashlight beams swept between the cargo. Ji Hyuk was crouched behind boxes. His heartbeat seemed so loud he thought he'd be caught. 3 minutes passed. The agent closed the door. The train started moving again. Ji Hyuk exhaled, but it was too early to feel safe. He arrived at the Yalu River at 11 p.m. The water was frozen, but not completely. There were cracks here and there. Ji Hyuk took off his clothes, wrapped them in waterproof plastic, and tied them to his back. The USB too. Then he jumped into the river. The water pierced down to his bones. It was cold. So cold his senses seemed to disappear. But he kept swimming. If he stopped, he'd die. When he reached the Chinese side of the riverbank, Ji Hyuk almost lost consciousness. But he had to get up. If he collapsed here, it was over. A broker who'd been lying in wait found Ji Hyuk. He handed Ji Hyuk clothes and said, "Hurry. The police are already moving." Chinese police and North Korean state security worked together. Ji Hyuk's escape had been discovered. There was no time. With the broker's help, he connected with the southern route. But it wasn't easy. The pursuit continued, and Ji Hyuk had to hide for days. The final destination was the DMZ, the most dangerous but most certain route. When Ji Hyuk arrived at the DMZ double zone, he was surrounded. North Korean agents appeared from all directions. Gun barrels pointed at Ji Hyuk. Han Ji Hyuk, stop. Ji Hyuk stopped, but his hand clutched the USB in his pocket. Hand it over. An agent approached. Ji Hyuk quickly pulled out the USB and threw it toward the river. The USB disappeared between the rock crevices. Gunfire rang out. Ji Hyuk felt an impact in his shoulder. Blood flowed out. But he kept running. Toward the fence. Another gunshot. His leg this time. Ji Hyuk fell. Then an agent approached. He was pointing a gun, but his expression was complex. And he whispered quietly, "Ji Hyuk, I'm sorry." Ji Hyuk recognized that voice. It was one of Father's colleagues. Someone who'd researched encryption algorithms with Father. Why? Live. Fulfill your father's will. The agent turned his gun barrel slightly. The next gunshot hit the ground next to Ji Hyuk. At that moment, lights turned on from the South Korean guard post. Ji Hyuk used his last strength to stand up, and he crossed the fence. When he opened his eyes, he saw a white ceiling. It was a hospital, or more precisely, an NIS medical facility. Ji Hyuk had been in a coma for 3 days. Are you conscious? An unfamiliar man was sitting by the bed. He looked to be in his 40s, wearing a suit. I'm Kim Sung-hoon from the National Intelligence Service, North Korea Analysis Division. I have some questions. The investigation began. Ji Hyuk told everything. Father's work, the family's disappearance, the encryption, the escape process. Where is the USB? I threw it toward the DMZ River in a rock crevice. I can give you the coordinates. 2 days later, the USB was recovered. An analysis team was deployed. Ji Hyuk entered the analysis room with them. The files opened. There were 3. The first was part of North Korea's high-level internal reporting system, classified documents. The second was a list of missing persons. Hundreds of names were written. The third was the problem. It was an encrypted file that wouldn't open. The analyst shook his head.
This is strange. This encryption method isn't the standard method used in North Korea. What do you mean? It's more sophisticated. And this isn't your father's method either. GHYUK pros? What are you saying? Kim Sung-hoon pointed at the screen. We analyzed your father 한테의 JUNS algorithm patterns. This file DOSNT match those patterns. Someone used your father's name to layer different encryption. GHYUK's mind went blank. Then what is this? Does this mean father didn't leave it? There are two possibilities. Kim Sung-hoon continued. One is that this was BAIT to rule you south. The other is that this was a trap to frame you as a North Korean internal TRAIT and eliminate you. GHYUK's legs lost strength. Then what was he? Was he just being used? But it's too early to give up. Kim Sung-hoon placed his hand on GHYUK's shoulder. If your father really left something behind, it'll be somewhere else. Let's find it together. 6 months passed. GHYUK settled in South Korea. He started a new life under NIS protection. But one corner of his heart was still empty. He received regular psychological counseling, trauma therapy. The counselor encouraged GHYUK to talk about his family. Do you have anything related to your family? Like photos or letters? GHYUK pulled out one paper from his bag. It was a drawing Ji had made. The only thing HD brought when escaping. My sister drew this. It's the last drawing she left. The counselor looked at the drawing. Does it have special meaning? I thought it marked a camp location. But now I don't know. After the session, GHYUK returned to the NIS office. Kim Sung-hoon saw the drawing and his eyes widened. Have you ever digitally scanned this? No. Why? Have you heard of STGNOGRPHY? It's a technique for hiding encryption in drawings. GHYUK's heart started racing. They scanned the drawing in high resolution. They ran it through encryption analysis software. Numbers started appearing on the screen. The number of windows in the buildings. The pattern of color bleeding. The number 53. This ISNT coordinates. The analyst SAID. This is an encryption key. A quite sophisticated multi-layer encryption key. GHYUK felt like he couldn't breathe. This pattern, it's the method your father often used. It matches the materials we have in storage. They entered the key. The encrypted file in the USB started opening. But what came out WASNT another file. It was text. GHYUK live. I am not guilty. The truth is what you create. It was father's message. The real message. And below that was another sentence. Your sister Jia is strong. As smart as you. Trust what she left behind. She fought until the last moment for you. Tears streamed from GHYUK's eyes. The emotions HD been holding back poured out all at once. Father had known. He knew that even after his death, GHYUK would survive. And that Jia would help GHYUK. The USB was BAIT, that was right. But the real key was in the drawing. A key that father and Ji had created together. Your father was a genius. Kim Sung-hoon SAID. Even if he died, he calculated everything so you could find the truth. And your sister understood his will and executed it. GHYUK nodded. His chest felt like it would burst. Sadness and pride rushed in at the same time. 2 is past. GHYUK was working as a CYBERSECURITY researcher under the NIS. He participated in a project to restore data on missing persons and potential abduction targets by reverse engineering North Korean cyber techniques. Every morning on his way to work, GHYUK thought, is this the life father wanted? Probably so. Because it was work that revealed the truth. One afternoon, Kim Sung-hoon came to GHYUK's office. His expression was serious. GHYUK, do you have a moment? They moved to a conference room. Kim Sung-hoon pulled out a document. WEV OBTAI need information through a North Korean internal source. It's about your sister. GHYUK's hands trembled. Jia? It's not CERT-AIN. But we received a tip that someone presumed to be your sister is at Camp 53. 40% survival probability. GHYUK jumped up from his CHAIR. When can we confirm? ITL'll take time. But we won't give up. Just as UV helped us, we'll help you. That night, GHYUK took out father's voice recording for the first time in a while. It was a file HD secretly recorded before escaping. A recording from the day father taught GHYUK mathematics. He pressed play. Father's voice flowed out. GHYUK, what is truth? Some people think truth is somewhere far away. In the north or in the south? But I don't think so. GHYUK closed his eyes. The truth is not in the south, but in your heart. What you believe is right. What you want to protect. THATS the truth. DONT forget that. The voice ended. GHYUK looked out the window. SEOUL's night view spread out. A free city, a city where you could choose. GHYUK made a vow. He would find Jia. And he would reveal the truth father left behind to the very end. This story is not over yet. Because it WASNT truth confined in SOMUNES code, but truth created through free choice. GHYUK sat in front of his computer. And he opened a new project file. The project name was written like this. Project Find Jia. His fingers started moving across the keyboard. The night deepened, but GHYUK's eyes were shining. It was the light of hope. The truth is not confined to ANYONES code. And love for family can cross any border. GHYUK will prove that.